Saludos fanáticos de la mejor lucha libre de Costa Rica y Centroamérica, RWA. Espero que todos estén súper bien y que hayan estado súper atentos al podcast. Realmente pues para nosotros ha sido una gran dicha poder estar un año prácticamente con ustedes. Ya hace poquito lo cumplimos y bueno, pues estamos muy contentos de que este proyecto ya tenga prácticamente un año de estar en todas sus pantallas, ¿verdad? Nada más quería hacer un pequeño disclaimer antes del inicio del podcast. Este podcast es completamente en inglés porque nuestro invitado es Colby Corino. Se intentó por todos los medios poner el tema de los subtítulos, pero bueno, el software que estaba utilizando parece ser que nunca los agarró en español y si no me hubiera tocado prácticamente ir frase por frase traduciendo todo lo que decía Colby. Y bueno, es que se hace un trabajo humanamente muy difícil, tal vez no imposible, pero sí muy difícil. Entonces hubiera tenido que salir el podcast hasta diciembre probablemente. Entonces por ahí hay una función en YouTube de subtítulos, ahí la pueden habilitar para que se puedan guiar un poquito acerca de la conversación. O si usted es English speaker, ¿verdad? Entonces pues qué dicha que lo va a disfrutar muchísimo. Recuerden siempre quedarse hasta el final del podcast porque siempre tenemos una sorpresita para ustedes. Así que disfruten mucho de este podcast con el señor Colby Corino. ¡Chingas a tu madre, cabrón! Hello guys, and thank you so much for being here. My name is Victor La Maravilla Romero, and I'm here. This is gonna be very difficult for me, but I'm here very accompanied today. I'm here with a new host that is gonna be with us for the next months, and we're here with a big guest. But before we go with the guest, I wanna say hi to my partners here. So, Kozby, how are you today?
Hello, Victor. Hello, everyone. I hope that you enjoyed the show with these guys that we have here. First of all, Mira, how you doing, bro?
Hey, I'm doing great. Coming back from surgery and everything, I'm going to be joining you
Good,
here in the
good.
podcast. So it'll be fun. It'll be nice. It's just if I'm not training, I want to do something. You have to see me some way. So what's better than Riot Talk?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah. You're
perfect.
welcome. You're welcome. And our special guest today, our friend Colby Corino. How are you, Colby?
I'm doing great, Cosby. How are you tonight? Or
Ah,
yeah, I mean you already probably said that, but thank you for having me on, guys.
Thanks to you to being here with us tonight.
It's an honor. It's an honor to have you here. Really, actually, we were looking forward to have you here. We were not expecting to have you so soon. Actually, we were very glad that we had the option to have you as our next guests. So of course, we were not gonna miss the opportunity to talk about your career, to talk about your match here at RWA and the time that you got here in Costa Rica. We're always expecting about speaking or talking a little bit about these situations that or stories that you could have here on your time here in Costa Rica. So yeah, let's go ahead and let's start. So the first section here on this podcast is gonna be the back to basics. So essentially, what I'm gonna do right now is that I'm gonna ask you a quick question and or several quick questions, and you're gonna have to answer them with the answer they have. So essentially, let's go ahead and let's start with the back to basics right now. Colby, so how old are you?
28.
20.
Favorite food?
Rice.
Oh my God.
Size
We're
of
happy here.
shoes?
Size of shoes, 10. I just had to buy new ones the other day, so I know.
Oh, perfect. Favorite color?
Blue.
Favorite beverage? It can be alcoholic or non-alcoholic or both.
Ooh, I love Arizona green tea. Do you guys have that in Costa Rica?
Yes,
So
That's
good.
my favorite.
I tried it. It's good to me.
Oh, it's probably not the best tea out there, but there's just something about it.
It's great. It's great. I mean, if you like it, that's enough. I mean, I guess that's what we that we why we like it, because we just like it. Okay. Height,
5'10",
weight.
187 pounds.
Where were you born?
I was born in this little town outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, called Phoenixville in the United States.
Perfect. I know that in the United States, there's sports that are gonna be more popular than soccer. So can you tell us what's your favorite sports team in general? It could be baseball, it could be football, it could be anything.
I actually don't follow any sports besides professional wrestling.
All
I'm
right.
very tunnel visioned.
Did you
Okay.
say regular? Did you say regular with our guest Victor?
Yeah, I mean, there's some of them that actually like soccer. Here in Costa Rica, it's a very popular sport, but we have plenty of people here that had come to the podcast and they just said, no, I don't like soccer. So that's why, and I especially know that in the United States, it's getting a little bit popular, but I know that there's plenty sports that are going to be way popular, like hockey, like football, basketball, or professional wrestling. So in this particular case, yeah, I understand that you don't like it. Are you single right now?
No, I'm married and I have
Yeah.
a kid.
Oh, that's great to
Congrats.
know.
Yeah.
Congratulations,
Thank you.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Perfect. So yeah, that's basically it. That's back to basics right now. So let's move forward to the interview. I don't know, guys, if you any of you have any question, if you any of you want to start the interview right now.
Neto, be my guest.
You mentioned that you like rice and that's your favorite food. You were happy here because we eat rice at breakfast, at lunch, and at dinner. So you ate a
Oh,
lot of rice here, right?
I was so happy when they said that, like, oh, yeah, everything here is made with rice. I'm like, this is heaven.
Yes.
That's
So
Have
you
you?
were
did you had
Sorry.
gallo pinto?
What was that? What was it?
The gallo pinto
What's
is
that?
the breakfast. It's
rice beans.
rice, beans.
Oh, I don't think I did it.
Oh my god! Yeah, you gotta
Oh,
come
I'll have
back
Oh,
to try
definitely.
next time.
You
Yeah.
yeah,
have
it's usually
you
served
have to
for
try it.
breakfast.
Yeah, there's no. I have to come back. I am coming back. Whether their RWA is going to bring me in or I'm just bring my family. It's too beautiful down there to
Oh my god.
spend time away from.
Well,
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
hope that you can combine both of them. Of course, that you can come back due to RWA, and of course that you can bring your family as well. Um, So how long ago? I know you are a next generation superstar. So essentially, you were born in wrestling. So how was it for you to be born on a wrestling family?
Um, I guess most people would expect me to say it's weird, but like it was just normal to me. It was all I knew. Like I went to my first ECW show when I was 3 weeks old,
Whoa.
and yeah, I used to sleep on two folding chairs put together in the locker room, just a little baby, and that's just the environment I was raised in. When I was a toddler, 4 or 5 years old, my dad would come back from matches. He'd be all bleeding from his forehead, and I would clean him up. I'd put band-aids on him, and it was
Wow.
normal to me. And
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah, it was
and
kind of like Daredevil, like Matt Murdock when he was a child. His father came back from his boxing matches, and he was the one that used to like clean the blood and patch him up. So yeah, it's like I always thought in some sense like being the son of a wrestling superstar is like being the son of a superhero actually, because they have two identities, because they have to protect their character in some way. So essentially, I guess that you feel the same, right? Like you felt like your father was your super hero when you were a little child, and you saw that all those matches.
Oh yeah, and like I mean, like of course he was a super. Like my dad was a superhero to me. Like I'd see him do all this stuff, and it's funny because he always said growing up that I was like Spider Man. That I like because I would never tell anyone, and like that I went to school with that I was a professional wrestler, even though I started when I was like 12 years old. And then on weekends and stuff, I would put on the mask and because I had to wear a mask because in Pennsylvania they have an athletic commission, and if you're under 18 years old, you're not allowed to wrestle. But if I put a mask on, there's plausible deniability.
Mm.
We heard a similar story here with Brumoso, the last podcast.
Yeah, one
That's
of our
true.
talents here had like something like that. I mean, he was like a little bit different from you, I guess, because he mentioned that he didn't like this at the very beginning. He hated it actually, but at some point, at some age, he started training and he started because he didn't like soccer, he didn't like anything else that he was trying at that age, and he was like getting this uh, teen pressure of I need to do something with my body. I need to train something. So he started to train wrestling. And he mentioned that once he started training and he started practicing over and over again, he started to love it. So was that for you the same, or you loved it since you were a little child? I mean, I know that you were in plenty of shows since you were a little kid, but did you actually loved it, or you kind of hated it?
um, I never like hated it. Like when I was a little kid, I was really into it, and then I kind of grew out of it a little bit. And then when I was about 12 years old, I went to a Ring of Honor show. And like I saw that Ring of Honor show, and that's what made me fall in love with professional wrestling. And that's when I was like, all right, this is what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life.
Okay, you fall in love with wrestling.
Yes, yes.
And how was that about growing up surrounded not just by your father, but many other faces that are now recognized people from wrestling, from the whole wrestling world?
It's so crazy because like during those days I would go into the ring and I would wrestle around with like whoever would just be stretching out, and I would ask them if they would want to wrestle with me. Um, so I got taught by people like Claudio Castagnoli, Chris Hero,
Oh,
Roderick Strong, Cedric Alexander. There's so many people that were gracious enough with their time to just show a little kid what to do, you know? And yeah, I gained so much from just being around all these people. And I also think like obviously like because who my dad was, like I feel like they were a little bit more open to teaching someone like me rather than like
Mhm.
someone like just some other kid that's 12 years old wrestling around in a ring, you know?
That
yeah.
should have
You
been amazing.
you mentioned that when you grew up out of wrestling a little bit and then you reconnected going to a Ring of Honor show years after that, when you started doing a good part of your debut and career on of Honor, how did you felt it? Did you feel it like making a dream true at that moment?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like from the moment that I saw that first Ring of Honor show, that was my goal. Is I wanted to be on Ring of Honor, and it took me 6 years. I was 12 and I didn't debut till I was 18, but I did. I got to wrestle on TV for them multiple times, involved in storylines and all this stuff, and like and it always just feels like, all right, I did that. I knocked that off the bucket list, and it always felt really good because like Ring of Honor was it was such a it was a product that I was so invested in it, and like it was kind of like instrumental. It was what I didn't watch wrestling on TV. I didn't watch WWE. Like the whole ruthless aggression era. Never watched anything from it. Didn't watch TNA. I only watched what my dad was on. I watched Japanese stuff. I watched the Indies, and I watched Ring of Honor, and that's the stuff that really hooked me.
Nice. How
Growing
was it? Oh, I'm sorry. No, Nero. Tell your
Go ahead,
question.
Nero.
Yeah.
okay, growing up with your last name, Corino, growing up behind your father, did you ever feel like under his shadow, or you feel like a responsibility to make something with that name in your career?
Oh yeah, definitely. But like, I also don't feel like it's like a pressure that hangs over me. Like, I feel like it's a good pressure that motivates me because I feel like that everyone can name quite a few second generation wrestlers who weren't able to grow out of their dad's shadow, and I never wanted that to be me. And I actually think that like I've been wrestling for 16 years now. I think I finally getting to that point where people are starting to look at it as uh, like Steve is Colby Corino's dad and not Colby is Steve Corino's son, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
You know?
definitely, definitely. I mean, it could we could compare it like with Randy Orton as an example. We know Randy Orton for being Randy Orton, and we know his father. Like it's like we know he's the father of Randy Orton. How was he? How was his name?
Cowboy Bob Orton.
But
Bob Orton, that's correct. I mean, we know Bob Orton because he's the father of Randy Orton. So at the end of the day, that's kind of what happens with you at the end of the day. Not only because we're a different generation, of course, and currently we're watching the current wrestling and we see the work that you're doing right now, but also because you're doing a great job. So that's I guess that's like the breaking point on that kind of situations when you are you doing your job, you're doing it great, you stand out, and you're able to make a name for yourself. But at the same time, you're making an homage to to your father's career at the end of the day, as well.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to build my own legacy while also adding not like forget the family name, but keep it going and keep that relevant, you know?
Of
It's
course,
not just about Colby, it's about Carino too.
of course
yes.
not. We totally understand it. How was it to make the jump from Ring of Honor to NWA? I'm sorry. Um, how did you feel when you make that jump?
There was a little bit of time in between, but like I felt like the locker rooms were way different. And NWA's locker rooms, it's like consistently throughout the years, there's been a lot roster changes, but a lot of the core people are still there, and it always feels like that. Every time I go to NWA, I leave with a lot of new knowledge, and it's because of the environment there. Like it's all these older, I say older, but I mean more experienced wrestlers that aren't worried about protecting their spot or anything. They want to help the younger generation, and they're there and they're to improve us, and like they give us all this advice, and they're working like all overtime with us to try to make us better wrestlers. Like Aaron Stevens, Damian Sandow, he's a huge presence backstage and like super involved with a lot of the younger talent, including me. And he's helped me so much in the past like year.
That's
Well,
awesome. That's awesome.
it it's awesome here the people that you have share a locker room for us. It's
Of course.
unbelievable. But what is the most knowledge that you have from these persons, from these people?
Um, it sounds wild, but the most wild advice and like the biggest thing that like stands out is they just want me to be me, more me on camera.
Okay.
Mm.
And
Okay.
like because personally, I feel like it's easy for me to communicate with people, and it's easy for me to talk and like have a conversation. And if you sit here and let me, I'll ramble on for hours. But sometimes, like at the beginning of my career, you put a microphone in my hand, and I would stutter, and I wouldn't be able to get a word out. And it's just like it felt like there was something in that microphone that prevented me from talking. But and like the more I just let myself loosen up and be myself, especially in promos and on the mic and with my character, the more the more I feel like I get from wrestling back from like the fans and stuff.
So we could say that part of your gimmick is yourself.
No, 100%. I was having this conversation with someone before. So like, but okay, no, this is a whole deep topic. But Colby the wrestler and Colby the person, very similar, but
Not the
very
same.
different too. Yes, not the same. This room is Colby the wrestlers. The rest of my house is Colby the person's and his wife's, mostly his wife's.
Speaking of
And
your family, how do they feel with you being a wrestler?
well, I was wrestling way before I ever met my wife, so it's kind of like she knew the deal when we started, and yeah, don't get me wrong, it's very hard on them and stuff, especially with the
Of
travel. And
course.
sometimes I'm gone for a week, 2 weeks at a time, traveling, and I just can't be home, and I can't be with them. I miss things. Last Halloween was the first Halloween I got to spend with my kid in his whole life, and it's like it just stuff like that. You miss out on quite a few things. But luckily, I have a very supportive family that understands it, and supports me and doesn't try to impede the progress. And even though that it sucks sometimes,
How old is your son, bud?
he's 5 years old.
Oh.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
the
he
past
just
Halloween is the first Halloween that you share with him.
sorry.
The last Halloween was the first Halloween that you share with your son.
Yeah, yeah.
Hard, man. Hard. It sounds hard.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, it's part of the sacrifices that we do for the show at the end of the day. I mean, people that it's paying for watching any of us because you're the presenter, you're part of the talent as well as Nero. I'm a manager as well, and at the end of the day, everything that we do it's for their entertainment. But they don't know exactly how we feel being in there because, of course, we miss our people. And we miss those moments that essentially we're not spending with them, like birthdays, like Halloween, like Christmas, as an example, New Year's Eve.
Birthdays.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
I missed so many birthdays.
yeah,
Mhm.
and not only and people. I mean, at the end of the day, they think that we're only missing this with the ones we love about them, their special dates, but also we are missing our own birthdays, our own special occasions because at the end of the day, we have to spend them alone, or we are not spending them with the people that we want to. So at the end of the day, it's. I understand when you say that Colby wrestler has things from Colby real person because at the end of the day that feeling can be fueled to make a better show. Even though it sounds incredible, it had happened to me at the end of the day. So yeah, I mean it's hard, but I'm pretty sure. Does your older kid like wrestling? Has he watched some of your matches?
Oh yeah, he's not super into wrestling. He's watched plenty of my matches. He's he's only really interested in watching my death matches though. He's really intrigued in my death matches. Not
Whoa.
because he's like worried about me or anything, but he just likes watching me go through stuff. It just makes him laugh for some reason. Like one time I wrestled for a Game Changer Wrestling, and we main evented the show with a big death match. And right after the match, I went immediately to my merch table where my wife and my kid was, just to let them know that like I'm not mortally injured. I'm still here. I'm okay. And my kid walks up to me and he goes, "Daddy, you got boo boos." And I'm like, yeah, but I'm okay. Don't worry. He goes, "Daddy, you're shiny." And then he goes to touch me because there's so much glass on me that it just like it looked like it was glitter. And I was like, no, don't touch me, please.
Wow. Do you think in a future we might see the third generation or the next generation of Corino?
Oh man, who knows? This kid loves getting in a ring. Like he isn't super into watching wrestling, but like he comes to me with training a lot, and he loves to get in the ring. And he can do suplexes. He can do a lot of stuff that I'm surprised. And he does like proper form too. He knows what's up. And
Wow.
he just started learning how to climb up the ropes and do flips off them and stuff. He only goes
Wow.
off the bottom, but we're getting there. We're gonna work up to that second rope swanton bomb soon.
Nice.
Does your wife get concerned when she sees him doing the flip out of the third, or well, out of the first? I'm sorry, out of the bottom one.
Oh no, she knows he's good at it. Like we have a trampoline
Oh,
in our backyard too, so we practice all the time. And like it's funny. I didn't even like teach him how to do a flip. I just turned around. I went inside to get like a drink, come back outside, and I see he's just flipping on the trampoline all around. And I'm like,
Daddy, look, I'm jumping. I'm
yeah,
making a flip.
he's wild.
wow. Well, I
Might be the
mean,
next.
I guess he's kind of the situation that you got when you were a kid. Like you were not really into watching wrestling or the popular wrestling or the mainstream one, but you were more into watching the shows that you were able to watch at the moment, or the ones that you were able to share with your father as well. So at the end of the day, I guess that it's gonna be the same situation. I mean, if he's doing all this, I mean, if he would be afraid to get hurt, he wouldn't be doing the things that he's doing right now. So that Daredevil part, it's already covered. So the only thing that you're doing, it's the great part, that it's making sure that he's doing this safely. So and that he knows how to proper do it in the case that he wants to do it in the future. But yeah, it's kind of cool
and,
to know that he's flipping out of the bottom row.
Yeah, we've
and
only had one accident. He knocked his teeth out, his three front teeth out one time,
Oh,
Oh my god.
and that was on the ring, but only technically because we took the ring apart for us to clean the building, and he was walking in between the side rails of the ring, and he tripped and he fell on one of the parts of metal that was sticking up right on his face, and
Oh my god.
mm.
yeah, knocked his teeth out. So
was it wrestling?
Well, yeah.
yeah, right. It wasn't anything to do with wrestling. The ring wasn't even set up.
uh,
Yeah.
but I see that this time that you share with your son, training and teaching some things about wrestling, it's time that you win to him.
Oh yeah, I try to spend a lot of time with him. It's something I'm very conscious of. Like I don't have a job outside of wrestling. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm very busy with wrestling as far as
Of course.
my own schedule, like going to bookings, and then I also run PWF and the Carolina Wrestling Academy. So I'm training 3 to 4 days a week and teaching classes. I'm working out for myself. I'm booking shows and promoting shows, and I but I can all do that all from home, so it helps that to spend time with him.
That is a part that I would like to talk more deeply. You have your own company of wrestling that signed a with ARWA.
Yes, we at PWF has just entered a partnership with the RWAs. I'm super excited about what that comes to, what that brings for us, and what would that bring for y'all down there too.
Of course, of
Sure.
Of
course.
course. I mean, it's gonna be mutual, as you're mentioning, and also CWA. It's included on the mix of this partnership. So at the end of the day, we're very excited to know that our talent has the opportunity to go and train with you guys, and also backwards, they have the opportunity to come here and train. I actually, I'm very glad that Cosby it actually bring out this to the table, because I wanted to ask you, since you own a wrestling academy and of course a wrestling company, how do you feel about the Star Wrestling Center that it's our academy, and of course about RWA now that you had the opportunity to be here?
I'm sorry, I missed most of that question because
Okay.
my headphone jack fell out.
No
Can you
problem.
restart?
Yeah, let me repeat it back, no problem. So now knowing that you own a wrestling company and also that you own a wrestling academy, what are your thoughts about RWA and is the Star Wrestling Center, now that you had the opportunity to be here and train here?
I think it's going to be a great opportunity for both sides because here our coaching staff is, I feel like, one of the best in the country. I mean, not to toot my own horn, there is me. I do train there, but we have Ryan Gallione, who's a very very good teacher, and he is way more better at explaining things and than I am. I'm a very like, all right, let's just do it kind of coach,
You're
and of
more
course,
practical.
yes, definitely. I'm not very good at explaining things. I'm just kind of like, here, just move this, do that, and then go. And then, of course, we have my dad, Steve Corino, who's one of the
Ooh,
head coaches there, and he is, as most people know, a coach at NXT and a producer there too. So it's something not a lot of people get. People from RWA will be able to come up here and learn from someone who's literally teaching WWE wrestlers the WWE style, and I'm be under the eye of WWE, and I feel like that's super valuable to them. And on the flip side, it's super exciting for PWF and CWA wrestlers to come to Costa Rica because it's going to be a lot of their first international experiences for a lot of these guys, and it's wrestling in a different country for a different set of fans and having to wrestle with people that you don't know their language. It's going to make them learn a lot, and especially with RWA and Costa Rica, like I feel like it's the perfect match. Like I'm not sending them to somewhere bad. I know they're getting sent to a great place. I know they're going to be looked after. I know they're going to learn a lot, and I know they're going to have a great time.
Now that you
yes.
mentioned your students, how did they take the news?
Oh, they're excited. I've been hounding them to get their passports for a while, and now they're like, "Oh man, I should have been listening to you." It's like, yeah, hurry up.
Okay, so we're going to have some of your students here soon, maybe.
Oh yeah, I got a few with their passports ready in hand, and they're excited.
Good.
And I guess that also here from RWA, I mean, we have guests on our regular shows in our House of Riots, but I guess that they are gonna get that treatment as the superstar that you got coming here and being on a premium live event from RWA, which have much bigger crowd, better produced. So I guess that at the end of the day, and also I forgot, I was forgetting to mention this, they're gonna be on TV. So for some of them, it's gonna be also their first experience wrestling for a TV show. So at the end of the day, yeah, I think that that's gonna be great for them, and also for our guys to learn from the bests, and also from to be able to be on a different crowd as well. Because I know that American fans, they love wrestling. They are really into wrestling, and if this sport is alive, it's a big part because of American fans that are loving and enjoying wrestling from all over the world as well. I have seen as an example that Mexican wrestling or lucha libre, it's being more seen on the United States. So I'm very glad that all that situation is happening, because at the end of the day, it's opening doors for everyone to have those experiences that as you mentioned, they are pretty valuable.
Oh yeah, and you were mentioning the being able to be on TV and stuff in Costa Rica. I forgot to even really mention PWF in that whole conversation. Like the people from RWA will be able to wrestle on PWF, and I'm going to try to bring them everywhere. If they're going to be around me, I'm taking them around the country wherever I'm going. And anyway, PWF though, we stream live on IWTV, which I'm not sure if that's big in Costa Rica, but it's pretty big in Europe and America, and it's probably the largest like streaming service for indie wrestling, and
That's
it's one of the biggest like ways to be seen. And we also post all our stuff on YouTube too, and so I think there's so many good sides to this relationship.
I mean, in this case, talking about the TV popularity here of wrestling in Costa Rica, let me tell you that we are kind of popular here, because here in Costa Rica, if something it is not, it gets away from TV. I mean, it gets out of TV. So if we have been more than 1 year on national television, it's because we have been doing a great show and people is actually enjoying it. So at the end of the day, we are very glad that this is happening, because the local scene is growing up. But as you're mentioning as well, if this is happening here in Costa Rica, that it's a country that it's building up or growing up this wrestling culture, I don't want to know what could happen for the local promotions there in the United States. Now that it's starting to grow this necessity to watch more wrestling. I mean, you have wrestling almost every day on television, if not every day. So I think that that's good because at the end of the day, this is something that it's liking people. Again, it's getting very popular one more time. So yeah, I'm very glad to know that some of them are gonna have that idea because here in Costa Rica, we are also encouraged to have our passports ready because we do not know who's watching. We do not know who wants to have us on their shows. So essentially, it's very good to know you have that mentality as well to have your students with their passports ready because you don't know, you never know what could happen or who could be watching.
Oh yes, 100%. You always got you can't get ready. You got to stay ready because you never know when opportunity is going to call.
Yeah.
That's totally right. I wanted to ask you. You had a little bit of an experience on WWE. So how was it for you to be there? Now knowing that when you were watching wrestling as a kid, you didn't watch a lot of WWE. How was it for you to be there?
It was so amazing. I got to work a few times there, and every single time it was really amazing. There was nothing to complain about. Um, I got paid very well. I got to eat great catering. I got treated with a lot of respect, even though that I didn't deserve any as an extra. I got super cool opportunities. Like I wrestled in the Dome during COVID, which is like there's a very small amount of people who could say that, who could do that, but they let me do that. And man, let me tell you, it is weird wrestling in a basketball arena surrounded by nobody but computer screens.
That's yeah, that's
It
Yeah.
it
very
was so
odd.
quiet. And
I
like
mean,
I was used to wrestling in front of like small crowds before. I've wrestled in front of two fans, and that's before COVID.
I mean,
But
and it still feels different because at the end of the day, you're wrestling for people that it's actually there. And when you're mentioning, even though if it's two people, they are gonna make noise at some point. So at the end of the day, yeah, I don't picture right now myself making a wrestling show on those conditions. I don't know how would I feel, to be honest.
oh man, it was hard. We at PWF we continued to run like tapings during COVID that we put out. They weren't open to fans, but we would do small tapings with wrestlers and like record shows for YouTube to be really and IWTV to be released. And man, it is hard to wrestle in front of nobody.
It was something somehow like AW did during COVID that they had their talent be in the crowd. So that's what you were doing back in COVID time.
Yeah, basically, if you weren't wrestling, you were standing behind the camera and you were clapping. You're making some noise for me because I can't wrestle for silence.
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty hard, I guess, for as a performer. I know that do a play a show or trying to make a show or perform with nobody is pretty hard because you don't have any feedback.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what do I? There's nothing to bounce off of. There's no energy. Yeah, I have to bring all the energy, and I expect that from the fans.
It's it is crazy, but it's something real that happened.
That's right. I was looking over a little bit of the championships that you have won, and I can see here that you have won several type of championships in different divisions. For you, what is the best way to win a championship? Is it a solo championship? Is it a six-man championship? A tag team? I'm sorry, championship. What is like what have given you the best feeling about winning a championship? What kind of division?
Definitely the singles division, and like
Singles.
specifically the NWA World Junior title, which I'm not sure if you can
Oh.
see there in the background. I have actually still have a replica. It's
Ah,
it's right above my crew hat actually on the shelf,
Ah, nice.
right there.
There it is.
dude.
Yeah. Colby is an honorary member of the crew. If you
Yeah.
didn't know about that, he has a
Oh,
hat.
I do.
He went back to United States with his the crew hat.
Okay.
that's something good to know. Actually, hopefully, when Colby's back, you're recovered as well from your injury, and the four of you guys can be in a match. That would be amazing, as a tag team.
That'd be
Oh
great.
yeah, or a four way.
Or a four-way. I mean,
Well,
take whatever you have. That's good.
Colby,
we
let's
just want wrestling. That's what we want.
That's what we want.
let's talk about your match here in Costa Rica.
Yeah,
Of
let's go.
course,
Why
with
not?
JC Payne.
It's a freaking crazy boy.
But before speaking of the match, how did you feel when you went out from the curtain and to the ring? How did you feel the vibe of the crowd?
The crowd.
I was so scared that no one in Costa Rica would know who I was. So like as soon as I walked through the crowd and like it was actually even before that because like they started clapping with my music and like that's how I know that people know who I am when they start clapping with the painted black. So like I was like, "Oh my god, they're doing it." And then I came out and like they gave me a big reaction. I was like, "Wow, these people might not actually know who I am." And they might have just been being respectful, but I don't know, I'll take it.
Our crowd here, well, now that RWA, it's on TV and in on other events like Connector Day, that it's a convention like Comic Con. It's something alike. Um, we know that we have a mix of crowds. So we have people that actually likes a lot of wrestling. They watch everything that it's available on the market. And we have another part. It's like a 50-50 of another people that it's kind of just familiar with their own families because they are families of the wrestlers, or directly because at the end of the day they just watched the show once and they just started coming to the show. So at the end of the day, you mentioned something that it's very important, and it's about the music. You made people that actually it's very casual from RWA, not even WWE. They are casual of watching our show directly. You made those people clap and had a reaction. So for you directly, this is a question that I had a lot of times I wanted to ask, but I never did. Do you feel that the music is very important for the wrestler, or you feel that that's just something that should be there, and people should be only concentrated on what you can do on the ring?
I think music's very important to the whole package, but I don't think that anyone can stand with just music, if that makes sense.
Of course.
Like, I feel like every great wrestler has a great theme song. Every, like, all time great wrestler has a great theme song. But if you have a great theme song, that doesn't guarantee you're going to be a great wrestler.
It's a compliment, the whole package, as you said.
Exactly, exactly. It's the little bow tie on top.
Yeah, it makes like a signature. If you hear the crystal broken, you think, "Oh, Stone Cold."
Hmm.
You got me.
Of course, of course. Or the final countdown, and you think about Brian Danielson, or we can,
One
or,
thing,
yeah, or Randy Orton's son as well, John Cena's. I mean, at the end of the day, you can. That's very good, and actually, you got to the point, Colby. I mean, at the end of the day, I think the same. You can have a great theme song, and it can serve to you in the sense that you can use that to connect with people. But at the end of the day, what it's gonna make them stay with you is what you can do on the ring, what you can do on your promos. So anything that you do in order to make sure that they feel entertained, it's what makes them at the end of the day, what makes you stay on their mind and at the end of the day. So it is great. We love here that kind of song. I mean, here in Costa Rica, there's a lot of people that love rock music, and they love actually classic rock. It's what they love. So you had an A+ on in music selection in this particular occasion. Um,
Oh yeah, everyone loves the Rolling
let's
Stones.
talk. Of course, let's talk about JC. Let's talk about that match. How was it for you? How do you feel about it?
I love the match, and it was funny because I didn't know it was going to be a no disqualification match. Like, and I mean, until I got there, and and that's my style though. So like, it's not like I was scared or anything. I was like, oh yeah, let's do this. And they told me that JC Payne was only wrestling for a year so far. So I was like, oh, okay, this could either go really, really good or really
Or really,
bad.
really bad.
And it went way better than I could have ever expected it to go. JC is such a fantastic wrestler, and I think that's a testament to y'all's training down there too, because like there's no way that like you could just be born with a wrestling talent like that. That's something that has to be honed and trained.
And being a little bit crazy also.
Oh yes, that's a huge part of wrestling is you gotta be a little crazy, a little loco, un
Un
poco loco.
poquito loco, sí.
You actually had some great words for Jay-Z after the match, where you were saying good things about him, how he performed in the match, how he just, well, survived your attacks. Um, how did you feel it went after the match, behind the curtains? Did you had any time to chat, any chance to talk to him after? How was it in your relationship with Jay-Z?
It was really great. We hugged. We had quite a bit of a language barrier. His English is not great. It's about as good as my Spanish. Uh, but we took pictures with each other, and it was such a great time. Like the I always had this saying that pro wrestling is an international language, and it truly is. Like I feel like we can communicate and tell our art, and we don't need to speak the same language. I've worked with people who only speak Japanese. I've worked with people who only speak Spanish. It doesn't matter. We can work together, and we can make art.
Wrestling is a universal language.
Yes, exactly.
Well, I'm very geek about everything, but I get I have a theory about it. I know that years ago for Hulk Hogan as well, he didn't speak Spanish and he wrestled in Japan. But I guess that for the newer generations, it has been easier, at least in moveset situations, because we played a lot of video games, and we had our chance to create our characters and learn the name of the movements. So at the end of the day, I guess that's something that has improved all over those years. That essentially we had also the opportunity to watch wrestling in other languages and feel a little bit of the vibe of other people as well, other crowds, other commentators as well. So, had you had the opportunity to match to have a match directly in Japan? Have you able to be there?
No, not yet. I
No,
went
yet.
over there when I was really young. I've been there quite a few times with my dad, but I have not been over to wrestle on my own accord yet.
Oh, okay,
Hoping to
okay.
make that happen very soon.
Yeah, of course, of course. I mean, because I guess here in Costa Rica, I guess that there's a lot of people that we speak a little bit of English, so it's a little bit easier here. But in Japan, I have come to the idea that they speak very little English. I mean, almost nobody speaks English there. So it's gonna be interesting for you, at least from my point of view, to be there in a way that in a place. I'm sorry that you're not gonna be able to communicate like very much. I mean, at the end of the day, that's part of the experience, as you mentioned, right? What kind of countries, of course, besides Japan, would you like to have a match?
I would like to return to Germany and have a match. I had a match there when I was about 14 years old. Um,
Wow.
of course, I want to go on a tour of the UK. It seems like they got a good scene going on over there. I've never been to Mexico yet. Um,
Wow.
Australia, of course. There's a whole bunch everywhere. I want to go everywhere. Excuse me.
We have fun in Mexico. Their crowd, it's very passionate.
Oh yes,
And they,
I can tell from everything I've watched, and
yes.
I feel like I'm a lot used to the American audiences, but I think I could amend my style a little bit to be what more they like.
On Mexico, they are rough, very rough.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about Mexico. I'm kind of scared about Mexico, but I gotta do it. I gotta check it off the bucket list.
Yeah, they go to the extreme. I mean, either they really like you or they really hate
Hey,
you, but they are not great on that kind of situations. So, and well, this question is more for Nero actually. What kind of advice would you give to Colby if he goes to Mexico soon? What kind of advice would you give him?
He does not need because they will love the style. They will love how he will adjust to the style. Because deathmatch, there are crowd for deathmatches. Technicians, there are crowds for technicians. When we had the chance early this year to go there, we were just scared of, oh, are they going to react? Are they going to buy us? It was amazing. They reacted like if we were a regular character there, a regular wrestler there, that they knew us, that they knew our story, they knew our background, they knew our gimmick. They reacted well. You were able to, knowing that you were the international one, you were able to just pick on them, on the crowd, and they were just going to be answering back. So they're never going to be quiet. And seeing Colby here, knowing what Colby does, he is not going to have any issues there.
Okay, that's perfect. That's perfect. Colby, do you like video games? What kind of hobbies do you have besides wrestling?
Oh yes, I actually love video games. I have this whole setup and stuff because I also stream video
oh,
games. Yeah, I play a lot of Fortnite with my wife.
Oh,
Um, yes, yes,
is your
that's how we
is your
spend time together.
it is your favorite game or not? You got another one.
I wouldn't say my favorite game, but um, I'm really into like the Dark Souls games. I just finished the Elden Ring
oh,
DLC. Finally, I'm a little slow, and I just started Silent Hill 2, the remake that just came out. Super excited! It's really good.
no. Do you like Dragon Ball Z?
Oh yeah, Sparking Zero just came out too, but
Yeah.
I can only do one game at a time. I already got a backlog, so I gotta work. I gotta finish Silent Hill before I can get the Dragon Ball Z.
Well, yeah, it was a choice that we had this month. I mean, either you got Silent Hill or you got Sparking Zero. I was the one who chose Sparking Zero. So essentially, I would tell you to that once you get to that game, you're gonna enjoy it. You're gonna love it. I mean, if you love the previous ones, the Tenkaichi, the Budokai Tenkaichi ones, you're gonna love this one. You're gonna feel very good about the final result. I'm pretty
Oh
sure
yeah,
about it.
because I grew up with those Budokai Tenkaichi games. I'm ready for more.
I wanna ask a question that it's kind of, let's call it polemic. Did you watch Vince McMahon's documentary on Netflix?
Yes, I did.
Any thoughts on it? I thought that it was great actually.
Um, I'm gonna be honest. I thought it was pretty boring for someone like me, but that's because I'm such a wrestling nerd that a lot of the knowledge they were putting out there was not new knowledge for me at least. But I can understand why, like, it's a Netflix documentary made for the mainstream audience, so I can 100% see why it's the way it is. Um, I really enjoyed the Steph and Shane episode where it was like them growing up and how they grew up. I felt like that I got a lot out of that. But besides that, it's got like, and also like they build up the whole like the first scene. It's like he left before we when the allegations came out, and they got to the end of the series and they barely talked about the allegations. It was like, I thought that's what this whole thing was about to be about. But yeah, it wasn't for me. But I watched it and I didn't tune out. I didn't stop watching it because I'm addicted to wrestling.
I feel you.
Yeah, I felt. I mean, as well as you, I feel that everything that was put on the table on the documentary was already very well known. I don't know if you know what I mean, but
Hmm.
at the end of the day, that was like you mentioned, like the boring part. But I guess like all the history behind it, all how Vince got to buy the company, how he ran it, and all that information. Besides the allegations that, of course, I defend that it's very important to talk about him. I guess that was like the very interesting part about it, and of course all the other wrestlers saying that Vince McMahon essentially is the same person in character and as a normal person. So that's part of the duality that we were talking before, right? Like some people actually could be their whole character, and some other people can have things from their own persona placed on their characters. So that maybe was like the very spicy thing about the documentary. But yeah, I enjoyed it. What do you like to watch currently, Colby, about wrestling? I know that you're very geek. Do you watch pay-per-views from other companies? What do you like to watch?
I watch a lot of indie wrestling. I watch whatever catches my eye, really. Um, there's like certain people that I enjoy watching that, like especially younger talent that's like on the rise. So if I see that they're having a big match, I'm like, all right, I need to watch that. But honestly, a lot of the time I don't watch a ton of wrestling because I try to draw inspiration from things outside of wrestling because I feel like if we all pull inspiration from wrestling, sorry, there's a very limited amount of wrestling I mean, like comparatively a limited amount of wrestling that we could pull from and draw inspiration from. So I try to draw inspiration from things like music and TV series and movies and film or whatever. Like all these other aspects of my life that I like, I pull in because in the grand scheme of things, all these forms of media just are telling stories, and that's all we're doing in a wrestling ring, right? Is telling stories. So I'm just trying to figure out different ways to tell stories, and I always like whenever I train, I always have this one analogy. I ask my trainees, I go, "What's your favorite movie?" And they tell me. I go, "Okay, I want you to make your matches just like that movie," and they look at me real weird. And then I break it down for them. My favorite movie is Pulp Fiction, and my favorite,
Wow.
yeah,
Awesome movie, great movie.
great movie. I love it. And the reasons I like it is because it's violent, it's well told storytelling, and it can get a little campy at times. And those are the three aspects that I love to put into all my matches too.
Sounds pretty good. It's a great advice. Nero, what's your favorite movie?
Oh, my favorite movie. I mean, I'm just recently, since being injured, I've been doing some kind of marathon, and it's the perfect season for Harry Potter. So I've been watching a lot of Harry Potter recently. So I don't know. What analogy can you take about that?
Oh, I'm
Well,
sure.
wow, that's pretty deep. I mean, at the end of the day, I guess that you can take the magical moments, overcoming difficult times, beating your biggest enemy in this particular case. I guess that's what you can do right now. That you, maybe your injury can be your Voldemort in this case. So you need to
Oh,
beat
it is.
him.
It's giving me a scar.
So I would say Harry Potter. You like long term storytelling. You like a little bit more. They're like outside the box. Like it doesn't have to be super realistic, but it has to be realistic in the world. Like it has to, like
It has to work.
there's definitely like there's aspects from anything you can pull and relate to wrestling. And I think that's how we reach more audience members and more fans too. Because if we're all just focused on trying to impress the other wrestling fans, we're missing all these other people that aren't wrestling fans yet. Yet.
Yeah.
Okay,
Wow.
okay.
I mean, I'm learning today. I'm just taking notes. It is
Please.
amazing.
Hey, I'm fresh off training, so got a lot to say. We even ran a little late tonight, so that's why I had to hold the podcast off up a little bit. Sorry, guys.
No problem.
No
No problem.
problem,
It's
no
okay.
problem. Yeah. What characters do you feel that influence Colby Corino? Now that we're talking about cinema, music, TV series, I don't know, comics, everything. What are the characters that you actually feel that influence you the most?
Hmm. Um. So, like, there's two sides of the coin, right? There's like the good guy side and the bad guy side.
Of
And for like
course.
the good guy side, I feel like it's like I take after like Peter Parker, like Spider-Man.
Nice.
And on the bad guy side, I take the main character Alex from A Clockwork Orange, and I feel like that is who I am.
Oh, awesome
Damn.
movie.
Damn. Yeah. That's a
Yeah,
great
Clockwork
movie.
Orange is another up there.
Nice,
Awesome.
nice.
That's a great
Which, yeah,
movie.
once
Yeah.
you realize my favorite movies, and then like I tell you that like I model my matches after my movies, you're like, oh, this makes a lot of sense. He likes a lot of violent stuff.
Yeah, when
Yeah,
you're that
you're
person,
right.
it's like, yes, it makes sense.
I'm gonna ask a question that I feel it kind of relates with the topic that we're talking right now about. Um, do you feel that violence it's better when it's justified, or it could be just violence and that's it?
I think violence is better when it's justified and there's a story around it. But don't get me wrong, I participated in plenty of like deathmatch shows that like we fight because it's a deathmatch show. And I
Exhibition
think there's
type.
a yeah, exactly. I think there's a place for both of them in wrestling. And honestly, though, I feel like the best form of wrestling, like as like a whole show, is a variety show. One that has just a little bit of everything. Maybe it has a death match on the card, has a women's match, an intergender match, a tag match, a six-man tag, a singles match, a championship match. Like there should be a little bit something for everybody. So like even if they don't like the death match stuff, they can leave before the ending. But if they like the women, they can be there for the women. If they like the high flying, they're there for the high flying. But I feel like a more well-rounded show centered around storytelling is definitely better than like an all deathmatch show because there's only so many times that we can just smash tubes over each other's heads and with no reason, you know.
I think that that's the beauty of wrestling. We got everything for everyone.
Exactly.
Cool.
It's we treat we're
I just
smorgasbord.
I just came up with this question on my mind, and I think that it's very, very weird question. What is the deadliest weapon that you have hit someone with, and what is the deadliest that you have been hit with?
Ooh, that's a tough one. So what are we talking deadliest? Like what has done the most damage to my body or
Yeah,
what is
yeah, that you felt that you almost die with it, and the deadliest that you hit with, it could be the one that you felt that you could actually kill someone.
okay, so one time I got two really bad scars. One time I gave Cruel, I'm not sure if you guys know of him. He's a big wrestler in the US, like very large. I gave him a tornado DDT onto a barbed wire table and I don't know if you can see the
Oh,
scar on.
Oh yeah, right on
Oh
the
fuck!
elbow.
Yeah, the barbed wire caught me and ripped me up. And then
Oh,
Oh god.
at a no ring show. So I don't know if you guys probably don't have these in Costa Rica, but sometimes
Not
promotions
yet.
will promote shows in bars where and we won't have a ring and we'll do death matches on the floor of the bar.
Oh my god.
And
fuck! It sounds really, really, really crazy thing.
yeah,
And really
I
painful, of course.
I took a suplex and there was a piece of glass on the floor
Oh my god. Oh my
and that
god.
Ah,
yeah.
I mean, you can see
fuck!
it plain sight. I mean, you don't need to make like a zoom, or something like that.
Yeah, that's one of my good ones. That's one of the ones I had to duct tape and keep on going.
Oh my god. No stitches at the moment. Impossible.
No, no, I didn't get stitched up. It
Not at
was
all.
there just happened to be someone who was like a nursing student there, and like I was so scared because as soon as it happened, like I knew it was bad. So I asked for tape, and I covered it up with my hand. And I was putting pressure on it until I got the tape. So I applied it, and I wrestled probably 10 more minutes with it on.
My God.
And yeah, it was dumb. But I got to the back, and I was so scared to take the tape off. And like I was like, all right, guys, when I take this off, I need you, no matter what, not to freak out, even if it's bad. If it's bad, just tell me I have to go to the hospital very calmly. So I'm like, I take it all off, all scared.
I'm about to pass
And they look at it, and they're like, "Oh, that's a paper cut." That's the quote that they gave me. And like, I look down, I'm like, "That is not a paper cut." But
No, of course.
they all convinced me I don't need to go to the hospital, and that I don't need stitches, and that I can just go to the after party with them.
Okay. All right. Wrestling life,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah,
I
wrestling.
mean, it
thing.
healed up fine. Scars are like free tattoos.
I mean,
Yeah.
I remember.
It's a good excuse.
I remember we had a show. Actually, it was I called it my debut show, even though I was not a manager yet. I got attacked by Clan. And in that same show, Nero got his eyebrow open, wide open. I mean, it was literal. We could see his bone in there. We
Still
got
missing my
very
eyeball.
scared, but this guy had the balls the size of a truck because he decided to finish the match with the eye actually seeing red like Cyclops, I guess, because I
Like,
mean he was
Colby.
bleeding out. And he got to the locker room. We were very concerned about that, but we understand that. I mean, I don't know how you guys do. I guess it's the adrenaline and the urge of finishing the show that actually lets you like keeping up with the match, even though you know you could die actually bleeding out there. But yeah, I admire you guys because I mean I get the little injury, the littlest one, and I would get really concerned about it. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, I mean that matches people. You don't have to understand them. You don't have. You just have to enjoy them.
Exactly. Oh, I didn't even get to the most deadliest I
Oh
did.
my
So.
God. Okay.
So it'd probably either be a gusset plate, which I'm not sure if you guys know what that is, but it's basically like a flat metal plate, and it's just got spikes onto it, and it's used to hold housing roofing together. And we just kind of pound them in each other's heads, and it really hurts and produces a lot of blood, and also
Of course.
like light tubes and panes of glass in general, like. A lot of these guys are crazy enough that they're just like, yeah, just for real, stab me with the light tube for me to bleed, and like that's pretty uncomfortable to do the first couple of times.
So
I mean, I would never. I mean, trust me, Colby. Even having several dead matches, trust me that I would never feel comfortable doing that to somebody. I don't know how you guys
Guys,
do it.
Guys, I have a question for both of you. Did you feel scared when you see the blood coming out of you?
No, not me.
No.
Well, that's how I know I'm doing it right.
My match was not even a match that needed to have blood or something. It was just an accident. I thought it was just a scratch on my forehead or something like that. Then I noticed that it was my eyelid that was open when I was back there in the locker room. And I could saw just like the stitches or the wound here.
Ooh.
But it was just like, okay, I'm bleeding. Let's finish. It's not a reason to stop.
Yeah, I probably would have finished too. I can't blame you.
You were
You see?
you were pretty close to look like me, bro.
Yeah, what
Yeah.
happened to you, Kozby?
I did nothing. This part of my gimmick.
Oh, okay.
I can see with that eye, and that's why I decide to make the patch part of my gimmick. I'm a musician also, so when I play with my band, I use the patch too. So I bring the musician to the wrestling world.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
That is
Colby, what position do you think Kozby has on the band?
Either lead singer or drummer.
He's a singer, yeah. Of course. I
He's got
mean,
that lead singer energy, I could tell.
yeah, yeah. And that's I guess
thank
that at
you.
the end of the day that's what got him the job. I mean, he's this kind of original announcer. I guess that you have felt that at the end of the day as well. You have been all over the world. You have been announced by many people, but Cosby has something that it's very special. And I have
He's
seen
the
shows, of course, from other companies, but I always prefer how Cosby does his presentations.
Oh yeah, you bring such an extra energy to it. I loved it when you were announced me. Thank you.
Thanks to you, bro. Hear that from you. It's a honor for me.
What
Oh, you're too sweet.
where do you see in the next 5 years, next couple of years?
Man, I really don't know. Until December of 2025, I'm under contract to NWA. So that's about for the next year or so. And then after that, I don't know. I don't want to make any plans because anything could happen.
But you would like to stay like resting on the. I mean, I know that anything could happen, and I hope that of course I hope the best for you. But let's say that as a simple plan, for a starter, you would like to stay on the United States, or now that the contract expires, you would like to maybe jump ahead and go to another country and try something there.
Ooh, I don't know if I could move to another country. Uh,
Would you get
I think,
homesick?
yeah, and I don't know if my family would go for the idea.
Oh,
That's a big change. Maybe if I was a single man, I would be more open to just being like, you know what? I'm just gonna pack up and move to Japan. But that's not usually in the cards for a family, especially in a place that we don't know the language.
oof, yeah, it's gonna
It'd be
make it
hard.
way harder. Yeah, it's gonna make it way harder.
Man,
But
I say that, but kids pick up languages so quick. My kids are speaks almost as much Spanish as I do already.
and
well,
it's
Yeah.
only five.
if you bring him here, if he's gonna come back speaking Spanish.
I don't doubt it. Yeah, those kids' brains are like sponges.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, we definitely hope that you can bring your family to one of our shows. I'm pretty sure everybody's gonna be thrilled to be with your kids playing and being on the ring with them and all that because you're part of our family. I mean, I don't. I'm not afraid to say it. I know my partners feel it as well. Everybody in RWA feel it the same. That you're part of the family. So I'm gonna ask this to my partners. Do you have any other questions that you would like to ask, guys?
Bobby, I saw your merch, and I think that it is awesome. It's a great merch. You have pretty good designs.
Oh, thank you.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So actually, a lot of the designs are made directly by my wife. My wife's an artist,
Oh,
and she makes a lot of the stuff. And all my T-shirts are printed directly by me. Like I have a press out in my garage that I actually physically produce all the
really?
merch myself. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Where and how can we get your merch?
You can go to colbycorino.bigcartel.com. I just updated it. There's a bunch of new shirts on there. I have a bunch of one of a kind ring used shirts, gear, pictures, stickers. I got everything on there.
Wow. So I got this.
Yeah.
Awesome. That sticker is awesome. I like a
Well,
lot, a lot.
and Cosby also got a T-shirt, and which I believe is the coolest one you have as well.
Yes,
Yeah,
for me it is. At the moment, it is.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wait till the new ones come out. I got some cool ones to
Ooh,
show y'all.
All
Well, we're
right.
gonna be expecting. We're gonna be
I am
expecting here.
I
I'll bring
will.
the new ones. Don't worry.
I will save some money for that, bro.
Of course, yeah. I'm not gonna miss my opportunity this time neither. You, Nero, do you have another question?
I have one, but I'm gonna wait to extend it a little bit more after the kickouts.
Oh,
Okay.
okay, perfect. Well, the
Ooh,
geek
Please
outs.
anticipation.
support me on my side of this wrestling kind of geek stuff, and it's a. I'm not gonna give any hints, but we're gonna
No
see it.
spoilers, no spoilers.
Yeah,
No
no spoilers.
spoilers, please.
Okay, well, that's your section, so we're gonna be expecting to see how Nero is gonna do it on his first kickouts on the history of Riot Talk. Well, my final question, it's gonna be really simple here. What is the biggest reason of Colby Corino wanting to come back to Costa Rica? Is it the wrestling reason? Is it a personal reason? But what is making you say I no matter what would be back in Costa Rica?
Um, there's so many reasons. It's hard to narrow
You
it
can
down.
say as many as you want, no worries.
All right, so definitely RWA and the fans there. There's not many crowds like them, like in the world. It's awesome. How beautiful Costa Rica is as a country. You guys is coffee. You guys is cigarettes. We don't have cigarettes like you guys in the U.S. I had to stock up on my way back. I don't even smoke cigarettes in the U.S. But those Costa Rican cigarettes are, and the coffee is crazy. It's hard to drink
Oh,
American coffee now.
here
So
we got
really
the best coffee in the world, bro.
for
That's
real.
true.
I went to the Starbucks farm while I was there, and it was beautiful.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is awesome. It is. I mean, the quality of the coffee. I mean, of course, we know that Starbucks at least try to use like the best of the best. But I'm pretty sure that if you go like to a little restaurant here, a little what we call soda, and you get a coffee there, it's gonna taste amazing as well. I mean, at the end of the day, something I'm proud of my country is that we have really good things to drink and to eat here. And of course, I know that that's one big other reason that you would like to come back. And of course,
Oh yeah.
I hope that the next time that you come back here, you're able to meet or to go to other places that you have not been able to go this the first time that you were here.
Oh yes,
But
I'm definitely gonna have to spend more time there when I come.
yeah, we really hope so, because at the end of the day, we like that at the end of the day we have all these things here in Costa Rica. Sometimes we take them for granted, and we really love when people from other countries that have really beautiful places, because at the end of the day, the United States has really good places, really beautiful places to go and seaside. But if they come here to Costa Rica and they say we are in love with your country, so that make me real proud about what we're doing here. Not only about what we're doing on RWA, but the country that we have as well, and as Costa Rican people. Well, in this case, I'm gonna give the pass. I'm gonna tag my partner here, and I'm
The
gonna.
hot tag.
It's time for the hot tag. That's correct, and I'm gonna give the pass to my partner Nero. That actually is gonna go ahead and do the kickouts for you. So, real simple here. Before I let you continue, Nero, the kickouts, as mentioned before, it's one word or one idea that Nero is gonna give you, and you have to answer with the first thing that comes to your mind. That's basically it.
I think I can do that.
Yeah.
Maybe the last one I want you to extend a little bit more, but we're going to talk about that.
No, you don't
So
worry.
first,
This is your
Go
podcast
ahead.
now.
There is no restrictions and no limit time in this podcast.
That's correct. And no
that's
censorship. That's the best part.
first one and most basic, wrestling.
Fantastic.
Corino,
Me.
NWA,
Sick.
nice, and even Seeker, deathmatch.
Oh, blood.
If you want to think more about deathmatch, go on. I feel like that's one that you want to talk about a little bit more.
Oh yeah, like it. Just the feeling of you get after a death match and like get out without a mortal injury is like one of the best feelings of the world. And it's crazy because like deathmatch fans are some of the most appreciative people too. After the shows, they come up and they thank you for what you put your body through and stuff. And like, it's wild because like I feel like I get just as like beat up and just not as visibly torn up in a death match, but my body's still feeling just as bad after a regular match, and no one is like, you know what? Thank you for what you do, but it's nice to be appreciated.
Nice. That's good. American Tiger.
Whoa, deep cut.
I did my homework.
Yeah.
Great job, Nero.
Yeah, yeah, that was my first character. That's what I was talking about when I said that I had to wear a mask and I couldn't wrestle, or else I couldn't wrestle. So I was the American Tiger.
Nice.
It keeps a space in your heart.
Oh yes, there's a tiger shaped space in there somewhere.
Nice. Old school.
My dad.
Of course.
How about ducklings?
Ooh, quack quack quack.
Right.
Some of my
And
best friends in the world.
really
Yeah,
nice.
still to
And
this
the one
day.
that I want to talk a little bit more, brutal Bob Evans.
Oh yes, one of my trainers, one of my great mentors. He is he's taught me so much, especially during that time when before Ring of Honor, like before those Ring of Honor shows when I was rolling around with people. He was one of the people that would like, if he saw me with no one in the ring, he would make sure he got in the ring with me, and he taught me something that day, and I learned so much from him. I can't give him enough credit in the world.
I think that Bob Evans is one of the biggest minds in the whole wrestling industry. His advices, everything that he says, everything that he posts, what you see him sharing and shouting out people, I feel like he is one of these brains that if you could keep frozen for eternity and use its knowledge, it's one of those. He, to me, is one of the most amazing wrestling personas.
100%. He is so knowledgeable.
And those were my words. Do you have any, guys?
So
Well,
I have a question.
okay.
Kobe. So as you saw, sorry, RWA. If you have to give us to give the heads of RWA an advice, which will be?
Mm. That's tough because they're doing so much right. Like I
Thank
was
you.
just sent pictures of y'all's last show, and the house was packed. The production looked great. Um, Maybe just tell them to bring me back more.
Okay.
Dude, the best advice that was.
Actually, it was any advice, so it's totally valid. I actually agree with it. I'm gonna be the second one to vote it.
Yep, the
But
third
yeah,
one.
and then we have here three votes. So essentially, yes. At the end of the day, we want to see you more here in Costa Rica, of course. We
We
would
don't need
love,
more votes.
and we would love that, of course. And this is an invitation for the guys there at CWA. Get your passport. You have the chance to come back with your own professor here to Costa Rica. Don't miss it. Come on. We are inviting you guys to come here and enjoy a great time because we know that you're not only going to have a great experience, you're going to meet excellent people here in Costa Rica that you're going to consider your brother on the first time that you met them. But essentially, that you're totally invited here to come and train, to come and learn, and of course, to come and show us everything that you can do as well.
And thank you for that, because I will surely be sending some people your way very shortly.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Well, Colby, one final message for the people that watches Riot Talk. What would you like to tell them?
Um, if you would like to follow me, you can follow me. I know Instagram's probably the most popular at Colby.Corino. I'm also on Facebook and X, but I don't think they're super popular in
Oh
Costa
no,
Rica.
no! Tell me. I mean, I'm gonna tell you. Facebook here in Costa Rica still is very popular. Actually, a lot of
Oh,
people uses it. Yeah.
well, I'm just Colby Corino on everything, basically. You type
Okay.
in Colby Corino and I'll pop up.
Perfect. Okay. And for the young wrestlers that are starting their trainings, what would be your message on this podcast?
So my message to the young wrestlers out there is that it's a grind. It's going to be long. It's going to be hard. There's going to be a lot of sacrifices involved, like we talked about earlier. You're going to miss holidays, birthdays. You're going to miss out on important events. But if you want to be successful, if this is your dream, this is what we all had to do, and those are the steps you got to take. So put your 100% into everything, because otherwise, you don't know what could have happened.
That's awesome. We definitely
Great
agree with
message.
it. Well, guys, I always say goodbye on the podcast, so I'm gonna leave it this time to you two. So say goodbye to the people, guys.
Goodbye to the people, guys. Oh no, wasn't that like that? So thank you for joining us today. Riot Talk, Colby Corino, Kozby, not Corino, Vic El Maravilla, and Nero del Rey. Join us for our next episode.
Nothing else to say. Thanks to you to watch. Thank you, Colby. That was a great chat with you. I hope that you enjoy it too, also as well as us. So, all the people, look at the shows from RWA and stay tuned. We came with more surprise at the end of the year.
And well, I'm gonna say this in Spanish anyways, because at the end of the day, it's the very end. Así que muchas gracias a todos los que nos acompañaron el día de hoy, que estuvieron por acá. Estén atentos porque ya pasó el show del mes pasado, bueno, el podcast del mes pasado, que no hubo rifa, así que ya ustedes saben qué significa este mes, así que hasta el final del podcast para saber cómo participar. De mi parte, de verdad, muy agradecido con Colby, muy agradecido con el staff de RWA, porque siempre nos ha dado esta oportunidad de poder brindarles este bonito show que tanto les encanta y que tanto nos piden, porque de verdad, a veces hasta amenazas llegan para que subamos el bendito podcast. Pero bueno, it was a pleasure to have you here, Colby. Thank you so much. Y hasta siempre, fanáticos. Bye. Saludos fanáticos de la mejor lucha libre. Bueno, ahí suena un poquito largo porque no tenía el micrófono aquí cerca. Vamos a acercarnos un poquito más este micro para que vean ustedes la potencia de micrófono que tenemos ahora. Básicamente, muchachos, esto es ya la sección donde ustedes participan, ¿verdad? La sección donde se pueden ganar una entradita doble para el próximo House of Riot. Y también donde se pueden ganar esta vez una gorrita de The Crew, celebrando que nuestro amigazo Nero del Rey se nos está uniendo al cast de este podcast, ¿verdad? Muy contentos de tenerlos por acá. Y él mismo nos dijo: señores, regalemos una gorrita de la crew. Y bueno, pues lo de siempre, una entradita doble para el fanático que nos responda esta pregunta en dos partes. Y es una pregunta que necesita haber visto el principio y el final del podcast prácticamente. Así que yo quiero saber que ustedes me digan ahí en comentarios. Recuerden, primero comentan aquí en YouTube, ¿verdad? Comentan en YouTube y después nos mandan la respuesta, el screenshot de su respuesta directamente a nuestro Instagram para tener un poquito más ahí de control, ¿verdad? Entonces, básicamente, ¿cuál es la pregunta, señores? Yo quiero que ustedes me digan cuál es la edad de Colby Corino y cuál fue el primer personaje que usó como luchador en el wrestling profesional. Ambas respuestas, como les digo, una está al principio, otra está al final, pero esencialmente ambas respuestas están. Así que, señores, un abrazo, muchísimas gracias por disfrutar tanto de este podcast, que ya prácticamente un año, y ahí estamos hablando, nos estamos viendo, chiquillos, cuídense mucho, un besito, bye.